Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Today I want to talk about the lesson of the snake. Last week I was hiking, and when I reached the mountaintop, I encountered a rattlesnake, a timber rattler. I'd been up on the mountaintop for several minutes, probably close to 30 minutes. And one of the things I do when I get to the top of the mountain is I'll take my shoes and socks off to receive the energy and the nutrients from the rock itself, um, and to ground myself while I'm up there. And I spent some time walking around, taking some pictures and videos, and sat back down at the original spot that I had sat down at when I first got up there. And I looked to my right, and I saw a something in my eye, and I turned back and looked towards my wife, and I looked back over again real quick, and there was a snake. It was a snake that I saw. As I looked closer, I realized that it was pretty big, and it was a rattlesnake. And it got my wife's attention and alerted her to the presence. And the snake was just sunbathing and had come out of a hole under a rock and was laying there by the hole and wasn't bothering me or anything. And we didn't bother it. We took some videos of it and some pictures, and then we stayed up on the rock a little bit longer, left the snake alone, and it left us alone. And eventually it started to go back under the rock, and we started to head back down the 4 miles to our car and head out. I got to thinking about that, and one of my spirit guides was talking to me about it as well. If you think about that, that rock, it's a pretty big rock, but it wasn't huge, but it was enough room for me and my wife and the snake to exist and get along together. That snake's pretty scary. A lot of people told me when they saw the pictures that they would have had to have ran, or they couldn't have, they didn't care how big the rock was, they couldn't have shared it with the snake. And, if you think about it, our society is the same way. There's plenty in this world for all of us. One of my spirit guides is an indigenous named Sage Feather, told me that the indigenous people in the Americas, when the settlers came, they had enough land. There was enough room for everybody to share and get along. But because the indigenous people were different, they looked different, they looked scary according to the settlers, some of them, they got treated differently. And they got pushed out of their homes. They got slaughtered. They picked up diseases and died because they were different. That was the only reason. They were different than the people who saw them. And those people took their land. And that still goes on today. There's people out there in the world today that are different than me, different than everyone. But there's groups of people who want to punish, discriminate against, take things away from, take rights away from people who are different than them, or people that do not believe the same way they do and will not conform to their way of life. So what do they do with that? Same thing they did to the indigenous people. They start pushing them out. They start getting rid of them. They start taking their rights away. And that's what's going on today as well. And that doesn't need to happen. Just like that rock and me and that snake. There was plenty of room for both of us. The snake didn't have to leave. I didn't have to leave. The snake didn't have to bite me. And I didn't have to kill it. We shared the space that we had up there. And there was plenty for both of us. So let that be a lesson to us. Let that be a lesson to us all. We have to stop looking at people as being different and looking at people as being unique instead. We got to stop the hatred of indifference and embrace the love of uniqueness in people. That's the only thing that's going to help us in this society and this earth to reach the higher consciousness and the levels that we need to be at. That's the only thing that's going to bring peace in this earth, is to embrace the differences of people, not put them down, not discriminate against them, and not push them out. It's the lesson of the snake. There was plenty of room, even though it was different, even though you're different, even though I'm different, there's room for all of us. Hope everyone has a good day. Thank you for watching. Blessings to y'all.